Good afternoon. It's great to be back in Tauranga and the Western Bay. Thank you for taking the time out in your extraordinary busy lives. It's coming out in numbers you have. This Sunday afternoon, there's this room that's packed and 2 packed overflow rooms as well.
Before we get into Winston Peters' claims, here's the central issue. New Zealand First presents itself as a driving force inside government, a party that's supposedly delivering strength and results. But when you examine the State of the Nation speech, a different pattern emerges. Throughout, there are strong claims and repeated promises about the future. But what's missing is consistent proof that life is improving right now for everyday New Zealanders. And this is where the speech begins to break down. Peters points to positive movements in the economy, but does not define what those movements are. He presents no form of data and no figures on wages, no change in rent and no indication that grocery costs have eased. Instead, his claim relies on a general sense of improvement without showing where that improvement is being felt.
New Zealand First, unlike the rest, has constantly said that it will take time to turn our economy around. We are making positive movements as our economy at this time is in such uncertain times. But let's face it, we can and must do better.
Peters places responsibility for current economic conditions squarely on the previous government, but the particular argument leaves out a critical point, that New Zealand First has now been part of a government for more than 2 years, and at that point, the focus shifts from what was inherited to what has changed. And as a result, there is no clear explanation here of what policies have corrected that unquote disaster. No evidence that the structure of the economy has materially improved since.
But we know what our purpose is now. And that's because our government inherited a disaster of massive over-borrowing and spending, not on production, you remember it? Not on wealth creation, not on employment, not on exports, but purely on consumption.
What you're about to listen to next is one of the strongest claims in the speech, a 30 billion gap in public spending. It is a serious allegation, but within the speech, there is no breakdown of that figure, and there's clearly no explanation of how that number is calculated. It is presented as fact during the COVID era, but without supportive details.
They borrowed purely for consumption, and we're paying a massive price for that now. Look, we just had the COVID inquiry showing the previous Labour government borrowed $60 billion to deal with COVID, and yet they spent $30 billion of that $60 billion on something else.
There's no recent examples where New Zealand First has actively stopped asset sales or reversed privatisation decisions while in government. There are references to past decisions and historical grievances, but what is missing is current evidence. If this role is being fulfilled, it should be visible in recent outcomes, but the claims made do not show that.
New Zealand First is the only party that can and will stop this economic privatisation madness.
A promise, Peters says, has been kept, presented as a clear example of delivery, but the claim does not explain what this means in practical terms for New Zealanders. Effectively, no detail on how withdrawing from the World Health Organization as a decision affects healthcare or outcomes during future crises.
We made it a part of the coalition agreement, and just last week we informed the Director General of the World Health Organization that New Zealand has officially rejected their proposed amendments. If we're going to make decisions about our health, they're going to be made by you, not a bunch of bureaucrats in Geneva. We made a promise to maintain our sovereign decision-making and to push back on globalist bureaucrats, and we have kept that promise. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all politics is about what you see in front of you.
The closure of Marsden Point is framed as the central cause of the energy crisis concerns due to conflict in the Middle East. But again, the focus is on past decisions. There is limited detail on what the government has done to resolve those issues since taking office. And later in the speech, new policies are announced, but they remain proposals, and they are not yet outcomes. That gap between identifying a problem and solving it remains.
Look at where we are today and how we are dealing with a very real and serious situation about New Zealand's fuel security. There was an option given to the Labour government to delay the closure of the refinery for 10 years, which, quotes, would avoid potential negative impacts on fuel security and buy time to progress options that would enable skilled workers at the refinery to help kickstart a biofuels industry. End of quotes. Ladies and gentlemen, and the mainstream media, the Labour Party said no. The Labour Party said no.
A particular claim about immigration is framed as a certainty that increased migration will directly displace New Zealand workers, but no labour market data is presented to support that conclusion. Additionally, there is no breakdown of sectors or analysis of workforce shortages, or even modelling of job displacements. It's really just a rhetorical question designed to imply an outcome, and without evidence, it remains an assertion.
I'm trying to put the deal out, the facts out there so you know beforehand. If we are incentivising an uncapped number of Indian students to come to New Zealand and work, and why wouldn't they come? Whose jobs do you think they'll be taking? They have said our offer to India on temporary employment visas is more generous than we've made to any other free trade agreement partner. We've been working hard over the past 2.5 years to build our machine for this campaign. Our ministers, our members of parliament, all out there to build this machine, the machine that's going to take us home. We are on a pathway to a major shift in the political landscape. It's the first time you've seen it for a long, long time. We have the party, and we have the growing support of Kiwis. You know why we have these meetings? Because it's what politics is meant to be about.
This speech repeatedly turns to the future, that there is a job not yet finished. That type of framing shifts attention to forward-thinking initiatives, but it also avoids a key question. What has already been achieved? After more than 2 years in government, progress should be measurable by now. Instead, the claims presented rely on what is still to come. So, promises are extended, but proof is deferred. Until that changes, the message remains theatrical and not practical.